Welcome to our channel. Today we provide an in-depth analysis of the alleged intensification of the United States military presence in the Gaza Strip. This action, frequently described in the media as tanking the region, has sparked intense debates and concerns across the international community. It is essential to understand the geopolitical and historical context that envelops the Gaza Strip, an area marked by decades of conflict, tension, and humanitarian challenges. Historical data indicate that this region, home to approximately 2 million inhabitants, has long been a theater for confrontations involving local forces and international powers, where strategic and political interests converge. The United States has maintained a policy of intervention and support for strategic allies in the region over the years, and the recent military maneuver can be interpreted both as a demonstration of strength and an effort to contain the influence of insurgent groups. Check. Information from official sources and expert analyses suggests that, in this operation, advanced military equipment has been mobilized, with preliminary estimates indicating that the costs could exceed $2 billion when considering not only the expenditure on hardware but also the logistics, personnel, and operational support. These figures underscore the magnitude of the operation as well as the economic and political challenges that an intervention of this nature may entail. The current narrative reveals that, by establishing an enhanced military presence in the vicinity of the Gaza Strip, the United States aims to send a clear message to both adversaries and allies in the region. Operationally, sources indicate that a combination of state-of-the-art tanks, armored vehicles, and reconnaissance drones is being employed to monitor the movement of militant groups and potential threats. This array of military assets not only expands the U.S. response capacity, but also demonstrates a robust deterrent strategy. Technical data point out that each modern tank used in this operation has an approximate cost of $8 million, while air defense systems and drones may reach values exceeding $50 million per unit when accounting for the integrated equipment and technology involved. Beyond the direct costs, it is important to highlight that the maintenance and operation of these systems require continuous investment, as well as specialized training for the troops involved, raising the operational complexity and budget to significant levels. The mobilization and strategic positioning of these assets clearly demonstrate the United States' intention to reconfigure the balance of power in the region, aiming both to safeguard allied interests and to contain emerging threats. The analysis of the operational and strategic costs becomes even more relevant when considering the medium and long-term impacts. Studies conducted by economists and defense experts indicate that high-intensity operations, such as the one under discussion, can trigger repercussions that exceed the immediate military budget. In addition to the initial investment of billions of dollars, the operation could generate a series of side effects, such as rising oil prices, instability in financial markets, and the need for future humanitarian interventions. Reports from the U.S. Department of Defense note that, in situations of prolonged conflict, indirect costs can represent up to 30% of the total value invested in military operations, reflecting expenditures on reconstruction, refugee assistance, and diplomatic efforts to mitigate the escalation of the conflict. These data emphasize the importance of considering not only the immediate impact of the intervention, but also the global economic consequences that may unfold in an environment of sustained instability. In parallel with the analysis of investments and military assets, it is crucial to assess the reactions of regional actors, especially Israel and Hamas, whose positions are historically marked by deep divergences. From the Israeli perspective, the expanded presence of U.S. forces is seen as an additional security guarantee, capable of strengthening national defense and deterring hostile actions by insurgent groups. Security officials and political analysts affirm that, for Israel, this action reinforces the strategic partnership with the United States, even though it requires a careful balance to prevent the operation from becoming a catalyst for escalated tensions with other Arab countries. In contrast, Hamas, which has long opposed external interference and the hegemony of foreign powers in Palestinian affairs, interprets the U.S. action as a direct threat to its sovereignty and as a stimulus to intensify its resistance activities. The response from the group has been marked by public declarations and popular mobilizations, reinforcing the narrative that foreign military intervention exacerbates the injustices experienced by the Palestinian people. This context of polarized reactions illustrates the complexity of the situation, where each strategic move is interpreted through differing ideological and political lenses, deepening divisions, and rendering future prospects even more uncertain. The future of this operation and its unfolding consequences largely depend on the dynamics of response from both governments and insurgent groups involved. International political and security experts warn that the risk of an escalated conflict increases proportionally to the intensity of military actions and the absence of effective dialogue channels. Should the U.S. military presence become consolidated in the region, it is possible that the conflict may intensify, triggering a cascade of reactions that could involve not only local actors, but also neighboring countries and global powers. Hypothetical scenarios analyzed by various think tanks suggest that an escalation might result in an increase of up to 40% in troop mobilization along border areas, in addition to a significant rise in refugee flows and a heightened need for United Nations peacekeeping operations. These data underscore the critical importance of establishing effective diplomatic mechanisms and fostering negotiations aimed at de-escalating tensions, so that the military intervention does not evolve into a large-scale conflict with devastating humanitarian consequences. The complexity of the geopolitical scenario in the Gaza Strip is not confined solely to military and economic issues, but extends into social and humanitarian domains. Recent statistics indicate that the region already faces significant challenges, such as high unemployment rates, deteriorating infrastructure, and an overburdened healthcare system, all of which are exacerbated in times of conflict. Data from international organizations reveal that in recent years, the poverty rate in the Gaza Strip has exceeded 50% of the population, and access to basic services such as clean water and electricity has been compromised in several areas. In this context, the intensification of military actions may immediately worsen living conditions for civilians, increasing refugee flows and the demand for humanitarian intervention. Integrating socioeconomic and humanitarian data is crucial to understanding that, while the military and financial analyses are essential, the impacts on people's lives represent the most urgent and sensitive aspect to be addressed in this scenario. In conclusion, we emphasize that the U.S. military intervention in the Gaza Strip, regardless of its immediate outcome, necessitates a multidimensional approach that considers strategic, economic, political, and humanitarian impacts. The decisions made in command centers and by national leaders resonate far beyond the immediate borders of the conflict, affecting regional stability and the global order.
Press 1 to enter the conference.
The detailed analysis presented, from direct and indirect costs to the reactions of the involved parties, demonstrates that the path forward requires not only a well-coordinated military action, but also diplomatic efforts aimed at dialogue and reconciliation. It is imperative that decision-makers remain acutely aware of the long-term consequences, ensuring that preventive measures and peaceful solutions are prioritized. Through this thorough and informative analysis, we strive to offer a comprehensive and well-founded perspective on a matter of extreme geopolitical relevance, reinforcing the importance of accurate information and constructive debate in times of global crisis. Thank you for your attention, and we invite you to follow our upcoming episodes as we continue to explore and clarify the unfolding developments of this complex and dynamic scenario.